Well, we have ourselves a good old-fashioned winter storm here across the west. A couple of school buses going slower there in Jackson, Wyoming. They can handle the snow pretty well right there. You can tell the bus is still out and about. And in the Breckenridge, Colorado, folks enjoying that for some fresh powder on what has been, in Colorado at least, a dry, slow start to the snow season.
But, you know, for the skiers, for the snowboarders, for everybody that's going up into the mountains, it's a lot of fun, unless you're driving in it, like our meteorologist Chris Bianchi and David Neal, who joins us right now, and looks like it's coming down a little bit harder than when we checked in with you earlier, David.
You know, it's been off and on through the day today, actually, and seeing the energy come in from the west. And the reason we're doing this is because this is the storm system that came out of California during the last couple of days, now moving through the Colorado Rockies, regrouping on the other side of the Rockies into the plains, and it'll be moving on to the east as we go through the rest of this week. I mean, this has been one big-time storm that is going to continuously take about 5 or 6 days before it gets out over the east coast. It did start snowing pretty hard about 2 hours ago along I-70 west of Idaho Falls, Idaho Springs, and still looking like there's about another inch and a half or so yet to come down. But I can show you, this is I-70, the main road that comes out of Denver, Colorado, and goes all the way to the other side of the state. It is just wet. The actual temperature has been around 33, 34 degrees, you guys. At this point, we haven't seen a whole lot of problems. That's not to say there can't be some a little bit later on as it gets dark here, but at the moment, traffic is doing pretty well on I-70.
Yeah, and David, you're in a spot, it might be just a different spot from where you are now, but parts of I-70, I mean, they shut down every winter for some bigger events. Are you seeing signage there, maybe from the Department of Transportation, any other things that are in effect?
DOT is all over the place here, by the way. They've been coming by periodically, even what was on the roadway. And we did have a little bit that accumulated on the roadway about an hour ago, but it's since been allowed to, the strength or the intensity of the snow let up a little bit. And so it's really just melting on the roadways. But DOT is all over this. I know we had big problems over the holidays with a shutdown on I-70. I don't think that's going to happen this time around. This moisture is moving pretty rapidly and end up being some rain around Denver.
And what are we looking at as far as timing goes for this continuing? I know maybe people will be headed up to the mountains a little bit earlier for the weekend. Is it going to be worse later tonight, or is this the time if you're going to be out on the roads to do it?
If you're going to be out on the roads, I mean, right now everything is okay. You get over to the Eisenhower Tunnel. I think on the other side of the tunnel, Silverthorne area, all the way to the west over to Aspen and Vale. If you're headed in that direction, Glenwood Springs, you're okay because it's really shutting down. The moisture is rapidly on the back side of this. This is really kind of the last hurrah here in this portion of I-70. And so far, so good. Just make sure you pay attention to those signs. There's a lot of signage that lets you know what's going on.
Okay, that is our meteorologist, severe weather expert, David Neal. You often find him running the Viper radar, but a beautiful scene right there in the Rocky Mountains. Travel safe, my friend. We'll check in with you, too. That system really coast to coast, Meredith.
And we still have some winter storm warnings in place for parts of Colorado. You can check it out, the pink on your screen. But you can see there are a lot of advisories out there for the western part of our country, even some blizzard warnings in some spots. But overall, this is a storm system we're going to watch. And here you go. You can see that front continues to dip down. That moisture is starting to exit in some spots, but in others, we are seeing it start to move in. So as we see that and continue to watch this storm through Thursday night, we are looking at picking up possibly a foot in some areas for the Colorado Rockies. Now, the further to the north, you could pick up 1 to 2 feet of fresh powder on some of those higher elevations, and then further off to the east is where we're going to see some of the lower totals, some of the flatter areas out there. Most of that falling is snow, but we're also going to have a mix with this next system as we get into your Thursday. So just keep that in mind for traveling, especially on those major highways, places like St. Louis, all the way up to Detroit. You could actually get a little bit of ice on the road, so just make sure you're driving safely, especially in the overnight hours. If it falls rain early, as we get into the later hours, the temperatures drop. We could see that become black ice for your morning commute on Friday. As far as it goes for rain, that's mostly going to be the case for Memphis to Lexington, all the way up to New York City. And then as we get into Friday, this continues to push off to the east. As that cold air wraps around behind the system, we're going to see more snow, which you can see is going to move into Detroit to St. Louis, Indianapolis, and then the rain pushes to the East Coast. Coming up, your coast-to-coast forecast. Find out what's happening in your neighborhoods next.